killing of a human being tantamount, as per Quran, killing of the entire humanity. And saving a life tantamounts to saving the entire humanity. So we believe in that. Let me say that targeting of innocent civilians is surely deplorable and condemnable. And this is happening in many parts of the world, and we have been subscribing our views and our policy everywhere it happens. We are concerned over the loss of lives during the Pahalgam attack. We also extended our condolences. Being a victim of terrorism itself, no one can feel the pain of those impacted by this scourge like Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, as the member of the UN Security Council, Pakistan constructively engaged with the other members on the press statement which was issued by the UN Security Council on the Pahalgam incident in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The UN Security Council statement contains condemnation in the strongest possible terms of the incident. On the other hand, it is India that glorifies and even celebrates its assassination campaign and sponsoring of terrorism in Pakistan and other countries. No other country has sacrificed as much as Pakistan, nor suffered so much due to terrorism. More than 80,000 lives have been sacrificed. Economic losses of about over $150 billion have been incurred. And in totality, they impact the economic and the indirect losses add up to close to $500 billion. We have been working closely with the international community to address this common threat. Since 22nd of April, Foreign Office has been actively involved and in interacting with the international community. At least a dozen foreign ministers, deputy prime ministers, and the Prime Minister, I have been in touch and have discussed and explained the situation. And I'm sure, you being from the media must be already up to date, because MOFA as a policy, after each interaction with any dignitary, we make a very brief statement as to that interaction. The countless sacrifices made by our valiant law enforcement agencies as well as common citizens have helped address the threat of terrorism and contributed towards regional and international peace and stability. In fact, Pakistan has been a victim of terrorism that is planned, orchestrated, and sponsored by India. In this backdrop, it is preposterous to even suggest any kind of association of Pakistan with this incident. The hype that is created on each and every incident in India seems to be deliberate and choreographed. It is unfortunate that India continues to weaponize unsubstantiated accusations and allegations as part of its disinformation strategy for narrow political ends. This is not the first time that India has resorted to such tactics. They have done it before, and they have resorted again to the same what they did in Pulwama incident and earlier ones. In fact, this has now become a very familiar template aimed at diverting attention from India's inability to suppress the inalienable right of the Kashmiris to self-determination, its security failures in illegally Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, as well as its decades-long state terrorism and oppression. To distract the international community's attention from the horrors of what's happening in the Indian illegally held Kashmir, India deliberately raises tensions with Pakistan. A durable solution for India lies in focusing on its internal problems instead of raising fingers on other countries. India has been deploying the allegations of terrorism to achieve a strategic objective for long. India has a history of using the excuse of terrorism for introducing draconian laws to suppress the innocent Kashmiris in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and to defy the UN Security Council resolutions, bilateral agreements, and international law. A case in point being India's illegal and unilateral actions of 5th of August 2019 reminds us of the blatant violation of the relevant UN Security Council resolutions and the 4th Geneva Convention, as well as India's own commitments. India needs to explain why such incidents usually coincide with high-profile visits. Please make no mistake, the root cause of instability and conflict in South Asia is the unresolved and long-festering Jammu and Kashmir dispute. India's illegal occupation of the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir in stark violation of the UN Security Council resolutions and grave violations of the human rights must remain a matter of grave concern for the international community. At the same time, all such incidents are used to whip up domestic political sentiment for narrow political gains. We remain extremely concerned at the very vitriolic, highly inflammatory, and blatantly Islamophobic narrative being directed against the Kashmiris and the Indian Muslims. Indian media and political leaders are directing a similar discourse against Pakistan. This highly irresponsible ploy for narrow objective gains is dragging the entire region towards extreme instability. India made allegations against Pakistan after the Pahalgam attack without an iota of evidence and with such dramatic speed. Pakistan has nothing to do with it, and we have said so right from the beginning, and I repeat, Pakistan has nothing to do with Pahalgam incident, period. We demand an independent and transparent probe by neutral investigators as announced by the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mohammad Shahbaz Sharif. Any TORs in this regard should be credible and mutually agreed. Pakistan has neither any connection to it, as I explained, nor is the potential beneficiary. At a time when Pakistan economy is stabilizing and we are making significant progress against terrorism, we need to question why this situation is being created by India all of a sudden and what is the motivation behind it. The actions that India has announced after its Cabinet Committee on Security are illegal and highly irresponsible. Holding an abeyance of the Indus Water Treaty is unilateral and illegal. There are no such provisions in the treaty. It cannot be amended without consensus. It cannot be terminated without consensus. And in case of any disagreement or issues, there are forums provided in the treaty which should be invoked. This action shows India's blatant disregard for the sanctity of international treaties. It sets a dangerous precedent. It strikes at a fundamental pillar of the regional cooperation with profound implications for regional and global stability. Pakistan is an agrarian economy. Millions of people are dependent on the waters being regulated by this treaty. Please don't forget, we gave up three rivers in this treaty. And I hardly can find a water distribution treaty in the world whereby a part of dealing with the distribution of water, the rivers could have only also been given up. I can't find. The National Security Committee of Pakistan has made it very clear that any attempt to stop or divert the flow of water belonging to Pakistan as per the Indus Water Treaty and the usurpation of the rights of the low riparian will be considered as an act of war. It is equivalent to an attack on the people of Pakistan and its economy. Other diplomatic measures by India are indiscriminate and unnecessary. India's actions and inflammatory rhetoric in the last few days are highly irresponsible. Being a responsible member of the international community, Pakistan believes in restraint and remains committed to regional peace and stability. However, in case of any act of aggression, Pakistan remains determined to defend its sovereignty and territorial integrity in exercise of its inherent right to self-defense as enshrined in Article 51 of the UN Charter. The world leaders I have been speaking to in the last few days after this incident, who have been requesting for the exercise of restraint, I have been making it very clear on behalf of our government, on behalf of the nation, Pakistan will not be the first one to resort to any escalatory move. However, in case of any escalatory move by the Indian side, we will respond very strongly. Let me raise some questions that need to be considered with respect to the Pahalgam incident. One, is it not the time for the international community to hold India accountable for its transnational assassinations in different countries, including Pakistan? Two, is it not important to distinguish between the international community's sympathy with victims of the incident and unwitting endorsement of Indian belligerence? Three, is it not that Indian propaganda is aimed at fabricating a casus belli for a military adventure? Four, don't you think that India's blatant disregard of international law and whimsical approach towards its obligations would lead to a highly unstable and unpredictable regional order? Five, isn't it high time for the international community to step in to condemn India and to prevent it from targeting people on the basis of Islamophobia and religious hatred? Six, can we deny that the dangerous Indian brinkmanship and efforts aimed at escalation can potentially lead to disastrous consequences in a nuclearized region and beyond? Notwithstanding above, Pakistan is cognizant of the developing situation. We are very alert, the armed forces are alert, and the National Security Committee resolve is very much there. We are vigilant, our armed forces are vigilant, and the nation will thwart any misadventure, responding in a befitting and decisive manner at the time and place of our choosing. Let me also share with you that it took no time that we issued the statement expressing our condolences. I was with Prime Minister in Ankara on an official 36 hours visit. After we landed, the news came, and the moment the meetings for which we had gone there ended in the evening, I was in touch with the Foreign Office, and the Foreign Secretary and I and the team finalized in consultation with the stakeholders, Pakistan's statement on this incident, number one. Number two, a press statement was lodged by US in the UN Security Council, and we received that statement, and prima facie there were two I'm not sure whether they were intentional or there were two important things which were missing there. One was missing, one was additional. The Pahalgam did not have in which part of the world So we insisted Jammu and Kashmir to be added. Number two, there was a reference to the resistance forum, and there was a condemnation of that forum. We were happy to do that, but we asked, can we have any evidence? Or even if they have self-claimed that they have done this, we'll be very happy. So obviously, we, on principles, all other 14 members agreed to our objections, amended the press statement, which has strongest condemnation with respect to the terrorist attack in Pahalgam. So don't tell me that Pakistan is not condemned. There are different forums of condemnation. Pakistan has condemned at the International Forum, where it is a responsible, one of the 15 members of the UN Security Council. Pakistan highest security forum, which is National Security Committee, has condemned it. We've condemned terrorism in all its manifestation, all forms and manifestations. Prime Minister has given a very clear condemnation statement when he offered the independent inquiry, impartial, transparent inquiry by independent, actors. So this is something rhetoric which the other side has been playing, that we did not condemn, we didn't do this. That is all wrong. So this is a brief detail I have shared with you, my opening statement. My colleagues sitting with me, spokesperson will walk you through with more detailed specific facts, and then, where necessary, Lieutenant General Sharif would step in to augment the facts. So over to you, Shafqat sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We have the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister has provided a detailed policy statement which outlines very clearly the main contours of Pakistan's policy on this development and what is happening in our region. We have a bit more detailed information to share with our colleagues and friends here, and this is basically an attempt to further build on what the Deputy Prime Minister has already articulated. And essentially it is an effort to clear the fog of confusion and also to remove the miasma of disinformation, basically, and to clearly lay out Pakistan's perspective. So the sequence we are following is basically just to give you an outline of how our detailed presentation would flow. So first we will speak a few words about the Pahalgam incident, some details about geography, what happened. The second is the question of the larger problems which we have been witnessing, which is very evident, is the fake encounters and illegally held Pakistani prisoners in India. The third and very crucial, very important, it feeds into this whole picture, is the Indian-sponsored and abetted terrorism in Pakistan. This we will explain in some detail how it is happening and what are the mechanics and what are the implications of this. And finally, the last two sections deal with the internal repression in India and stifling of freedom of expression, basically. So the first part I'll start is the Pahalgam incident. Can we slide? Yeah, okay. So you have a good view of it. The incident occurred in Pahalgam, which is about 230 kilometers from the line of control, or 100 kilometers the crow flight distance. And it's a known tourist area. And it's very clear if you look at this map which has been on display here. The area is hilly and slightly treacherous in nature. An important detail now, this please keep in mind. The attack took place between 1350 to 1420 hours. This is the time window when this attack is taking place. But the FIR was registered at 1430 hours, within 10 minutes. Unfortunately, there were 26 people died. There was, including one Nepali national, and 16 people were injured. Indian security forces reached the site and launched a search operation, but 8 days have passed. So far, there is no news of any arrest, suspects information being shared about suspects or evidence being shared. But it is also even more interesting is that, first of all, in 10 minutes, FIR was registered, but with equal alacrity, the Indian social media accounts, they all follow a certain pattern. They are affiliated with the Indian External Intelligence Agency. We will give more detail about that. And they, in 10 minutes time, I think the attack lasted till 14-20 hours. Within short span of time, immediately Pakistan was started being blamed, although there was no evidence, nothing, no detailed information, but Pakistan, this being was pinned on Pakistan very, very quickly. And this is something very interesting to reflect on. The next, no, it's a pichli slide pe jaye. The slide before this. Yes. The other point is also you have to keep in view that when we are talking about 10-minute difference between the writing of FIR and the incident, it is a hilly track. Its minimum time is 30 minutes you need to get to the police station. This is very important to keep in view. So, but again, just to repeat myself, sounding repetitive, but the FIR is registered in a matter of 10 minutes. The timing raises serious questions about how information was processed so quickly. And writing of FIR is that it needs certain deliberation. Maybe someone called, but the point is you need to gather, this is the first information report, you have to have some contours of what happened actually before you get into the writing of the FIR. And that too in such difficult terrain, how all of this was done, basically. From this onward, now come to the next slide. I will now request the Director General ISPR, Lieutenant General Sharif, to take over this, the other part of the presentation. He'll share more details on this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. As the spokesperson has already given you an orientation of the area. So if you see the first slide, if you can go to the first slide, I'll just tilt a bit so that I'll be able to go along with you. If you can go to the map slide. You see, this is the, if this is the crow distance from the Badori Bulge at the place, it is approximately 100 kilometers. And on the road and tracks, it is more than 200 kilometers. But that is from the tip of the Badori Bulge. From any nearest Pakistani town, let's say it's Bagh, it's even much more. So, what we are trying to do here is to walk you through facts of this incident rather than the allegations that are being made. So, if the allegation is that it's the Pakistan-based so-called terrorists did this incident, then you need to be cognizant of where it lies, how far deep it is inside the illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. If you see the terrain on this map slide, you will see that it's quite hilly. It's not the sort of terrain which is very friendly, and not a sort of terrain where the all-weather fair roads exist. It's mostly on 4x4 and the horseback that the travel is being done over there. If you go to the next slide, so there's a track, then comes the road. So approximately, if you see, it takes about, we can estimate that about 30 minutes for someone to move from the incident site to the police station. So if the incident, as per the FIR, was from 1350 and it is 1420 hours. So how it was humanly possible that within 10 minutes, the police was there, evaluated the situation, went back and registered the FIR. And if we see this FIR closely, there are 3 points. The time factor, the time aspect has been, I think, repeatedly, clearly enunciated. There are 2 more things that I would like to draw your attention. That the FIR lodged after 10 minutes states that these were across the border. The handlers of this incident were across the border. So they established it in 10 minutes. While the incident was going on, before that, the intelligence or the security was so, we can say, flat that the incident happened, there was no intelligence, but within 10 minutes, they had such complete intelligence that they were established that it was across the border handless. And secondly, it says over there that there was indiscriminate firing. However, we also know that a consistent narrative was made, is being made, that this act of terrorism was done on base of religion, that the Muslims, that it was the segregation was done and Hindus were killed. So I would request if you can go to the next slide. Now, if you please see this clip which has been made at the time of incident. Please run it.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. That's it.
You can see that the firing and whatever happening is not, there is no discrimination or segregation being done. Are the people being segregated, identified on the basis of religion? You can see in the background while this video is being made, right at the time of incident. Because this is that incident on the basis of which the segregation on the basis of religion has been claimed. So, because facts speak for themselves. On the next clip, over there.
10 लाख से ज्यादा यहाँ पर आर्मी है। अगर यहाँ पर पोस्ट कोई शेयर करेगा ना, उसको रात में ही उठा लेंगे। अगर कोई पोस्ट गलत करेगा कोई शेयर, अगर यहाँ पर इतना फौज है, वो क्या कर रही है? वो जख मार रहे हैं। वहाँ पर 200 बंदे थे, तब वहाँ पर क्यों नहीं आर्मी थी? क्यों नहीं थी? वो कहाँ गई?
पहलगाम की जिम्मेदारी किसकी है? जिम्मेदारी तो सरकार ने लेनी चाहिए। पहलगाम की जिम्मेदारी, 27 लोगों की जान गई, वहाँ पे सिक्योरिटी क्यों नहीं थी? क्यों निकाली गई? तो तुम्हारा इंटेलिजेंस क्या कर रहा था? वो फेलियर नहीं है, ये सरकार का फेलियर नहीं है। ये प्लान करके मत करो।
सरकार तो गई हुई है, मतलब इतना बड़ा आतंकवादी का हमला हुआ, उन्हें कुछ पता ही नहीं है। पूरे आर्मी का देश है, उन्हें पता ही नहीं है।
चक्के नाकों पर आपके हर जगह आपको मिलिट्री दिखेगी, पुलिस दिखेगी, सीआरपीएफ दिखेगी। किस लिए? बॉर्डर पे हैं तो कहां से आए? जहां तक पहुंचे हैं तो वापस कहां गए? जिस तरीके से किया गया, रिटेलिएशन नहीं हो सकता है।
अगर 7 लाख से 12 लाख के आसपास यहाँ सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस है, उसके बावजूद उनको ये पता नहीं इंटेलिजेंस फेलियर।
3 टायर सिक्योरिटी रहते हुए भी एक ऐसा लैब्स हुआ, और ये सिक्योरिटी लैब्स है।
What happened to our intelligence? Have we failed somewhere? And if we have, why have we failed?
इंटेलिजेंस फेलियर है, सिक्योरिटी फेलियर है। यहाँ 7 लाख फौजी है जमा कश्मीर में, एक छोटा सा इलाका है, 7 लाख फौज है, वो कहाँ है?
वहाँ पे गाड़ी नहीं जा रही है, पैदल इंसान जा रहा है। सिक्योरिटी इतनी है कि वहाँ से टेररिस्ट कहाँ से आ गए? वहाँ कहीं ना कहीं इनकी एजेंसी अटैक करवाती है।
The questions that the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister has raised, they are being echoed also within from India, because the facts are there for the people to see. Hear them out.
ये पुलवामा 2 है। पुलवामा 1 में कोई उत्तर नहीं मिला देशवासियों। ये संयोग नहीं है, प्रयोग है। पूरी देश की जनता, मैं नहीं कह रहा हूं, पूरी देश की जनता। देखिए, काफी लोगों को ये नहीं पता है कि पहलगांव कहां है, चंदनवाड़ी कहां है, बिष्णु टॉप कहां है, गणेश टॉप कहां है।
hardly fought and won war on the terrorism, the CT effort of Pakistan, and the efforts, the successful efforts for reviving the economy. And there is a list of these incidents. I'll just give you examples of 2 incidents. If you go on the next slide, so the history speaks for itself, that what happened in Chatti Singhpura 2000, exactly 25 years ago.
Captain Sir, they were issues. Rafalo Odesi, fully planned right.
Are and fake encounters projected as terrorists and infiltrators. I'll give you just few examples. This boy, Zia Mustafa, he was a minor in October 2013. He was taken in custody while he inadvertently crossed, shot down in a fake encounter on 14th October 2021. Listen to this story as told by his family.
ये जो इंडिया वाले हैं, मैं कहती हूँ इनको तो इनके सीनों में दिल है ही नहीं ना। इनके सीनों में अगर दिल होता ना तो ये
And I must compliment all political parties who represent in the federation, federating units, all federating units in the Senate of Pakistan, which is a symbol of federation. There was the unanimous resolution, including, I'm repeating, all political parties. And I think the message was loud and clear that in terms of our sovereignty, or territorial integrity, there is no compromise. And we are one, united, and with clear resolve that if anything, any provocation takes place, then, don't blame us. And this is the message we have given while, communicating with world leaders in the last few days. Thank you.
And Ms. Sumera, just to add with reference to the evidence that we talked, this evidence is credible, it is verifiable for any transparent, independent inquiry by any investigators. And Pakistan will take up this case, is taking up and will continue to take up this case of this state-sponsored and abetted terrorism with all forums, including the international community.
Thank you very much, spokesperson. This is Sumera Khan from Sama Television. Sir, I have a two-pronged question. One is from the respected DG and the other is posing at Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister. DG, if we talk about kinetic measures, we are right now engaged significantly eastern border and western border as well. So the terrorist might be thinking, terrorist who's operating right now significantly from across the border, if you talk about Afghanistan, I'm forced to name this country as well right now. So what is our situation? Are we stretching our army at two borders? What's our strategy to deal with this two-pronged kinetic strategy? And Foreign Minister, I'm seeing you discussing the entire situation with a lot of world leaders, and you have been day in, day out, you are speaking to them. But to my shock and wonder, I did not see any statement from any country that is condemning that India is not presenting substantial evidence of Pahalgam attack. And yes, they are offering their condolences to the victims, we do, but where is the demand for evidence from India, and what forums exactly we are seeking to put up this question? And as DG has highlighted, that state-sponsored terrorism from India, what exactly we are going to do about it? Thank you so much.
I'll answer the second half.
Pakistan Army and Pakistan Armed Forces and law enforcement, we are a battle-hardened army. So, it may be a ploy, it may be a tactic, it may be a desire, a strategy for them to engage militarily on the eastern front so as to create space along the western border. But Pakistan Armed Forces, its law enforcement, intelligence, security agencies are fully capable of taking all these threats simultaneously with full force and effectivity. And its manifestation you just have seen in the last few days. As I told you that we have credible intelligence and that all the proxies of terror have been activated. But the security of the people is being done. The terrorists are being hunted and being taken down. So we are vigilant, we are watching everywhere. And I said earlier that we are watching their moves and what they are doing and their plans in all domains. So whether they are in the domain of counter-terrorism, non-kinetic, information operations, other domains, air, ground, sea, everywhere, and appropriate countermeasures are being taken, are in place, and there will be defeating and decisive responses.
The second question, you see the reaction of the diplomatic world is always incident specific. The incident is Pahalgam, so that would be out of context what you expect, that why they are not condemning India. Obviously they are condemning the terrorism, everybody, but I don't know whether you have seen the Chinese statement, whether you have seen the Tayyip Erdogan, the president of Turkey statement, and I explained earlier that most of the global leaders, they were very, very candid and requested to exercise restraint, and that's why we have announced that we will not be the first one to take any escalatory move. So, the policy of the government, is absolutely clear, and that's what we are following. So, surely, this will be inappropriate, I think, at this stage. They haven't seen all this evidence, number one. The discussion right now is focused on an incident. So, it will be out of context if somebody goes out of the way and starts condemning why you're not dealing with all these things. So, this is for your education to sharing with the media, with the nation, with the international community, that's what Jan Saab and spokesperson have tried to just run you through. Thank you.
Khalid sir.
खालिद महमूद जी एक्सप्रेस टीवी से। जनरल साहब, एक टेक्निकल सा सवाल है कि जो दोनों मालिक के दरमियान साइबर और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक वारफेयर में जो कंपैरिजन है, पाकिस्तान वहाँ पे कहाँ खड़ा है? और दूसरा मेरा सवाल है डिप्टी प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब से कि इंडियन मीडिया जो है वो अभी से जो लास्ट ऑप्शन है उसको इस्तेमाल करने की बातें कर रहा है। क्या ऐसा कोई मुमकिन है या ऐसा कोई खदशा जाहिर किया जा रहा है कि पाकिस्तान भी वो लास्ट ऑप्शन इस्तेमाल कर सकता है?
Let me, before General Saab adds on, as for the warfare comparison is concerned, I think the conventional warfare comparison is over on 28th of May 1998. You are a nuclear power and so is India. Again, at that time, we were not the first one. They, exploded 5 devices. There was a lot of, offers from the world leaders, including President Clinton and many others. And Pakistan leadership, Mr. Muhammad Nawaz Sharif was the Prime Minister of Pakistan. We accompanied on 28th of May in NDC, where General Jagir Kamal gave a briefing. But you asked comparative warfare. So the decision was we have to go and respond to represent the sentiments of the nation as well. So, number one, so you are a nuclear power and you are recognized as a missile power as well. So, no worries at all. Warfare is very much there, but when you say last option, if you are referring to the nuclear option, so obviously there is a national command authority in place in Pakistan, like all the countries who are nuclear, and it is their domain that in such eventuality that national command authority would meet, where again Prime Minister and the leadership of Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif, both the civil and military leadership who are the members of that command authority under the law of the land, they will sit and decide.
Ji, ma'am, want to add something? Yeah.
On these particular domains that in which the comparison, I think this is not the forum to discuss that in cyber domain, electronic warfare domain, in the firepower domain, in the information domain, in the other domains, we start doing a comparison of 2-3 countries and pass at this time. I think this is not the forum right now. I gave you an overarching response that we are watching them very carefully in all the domains and all the appropriate measures are in place. The response, as the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister said, will be befitting, it will be decisive and assured.
नौरीन सुनो न्यूज़ से मेरे इसहाक डार साहब से 2 क्वेश्चन हैं सर। पहले तो ये कि गुज़िश्ता रोज़ DGISPR की जानिब से ब्रीफिंग में बड़े वाज़े शवाहिद पेश किए गए जो ये साबित करते हैं कि किस तरह से इंडिया क्रॉस बॉर्डर टेररिज्म में मुलविस है। तो क्या पाकिस्तान मुख्तलिफ सफारतकारों को बुलाकर और बिलखसूस अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा की सतह पर कोई डोजियर देने की तैयारी कर रहा है? और सेकेंडली ये सर कि क्या अभी तक अमेरिका, चीन या किसी भी दोस्त मुल्क की जानिब से दोनों ममालिक के दरमियान तनाव की जो हालिया कैफियत है इसको कम करने के लिए कोई पेशकश की गई है? थैंक यू।
देखिए, जहाँ तक डोजेस का सवाल है, एज ए सेड दैट वी आर एक्टिवली इन्वॉल्व विद द डिप्लोमेटिक कम्युनिटी। दे वर गिवन ब्रीफिंग इन MOFA by the foreign secretary to begin with, who were present in Islamabad. We are actively engaged with different high commissioners, ambassadors, chargé d'affaires. Even today, US chargé d'affaires called on me. So we are actively engaged on this thing 24/7. Number 2, the वाज़े शवाहिद जो आपने बात की देखें, let me remind you, all this thing what you have seen, if I can quote Madeleine Albright book, the introductory remarks were by President Clinton. Now, what did he say? And it's not a recent episode; it's decades old. In that book, it is written that quoting President Clinton, he said, he had the intel information that if he goes to India, there will be around 36 will be killed, murdered. And if so, he responded that if I had gone, I had taken that information and not gone, then perhaps these 6 could have survived. But if I had not gone, I would not have discharged my responsibility as PUTUS, President of the United States of America. So it's not me who's saying, it's Madeleine Albright book. The person she's quoting has written the introductory remarks in that book. So this is, you see, and the actions are totally, unacceptable. Even in 1965-1971 war, Indus Water Treaty was kept in place and was followed. Never before, since this 23rd announcement, never before. And there is no provision or possibility in the international legal dictionary the word abeyance in any treaty. So they can suspend it, but there is no provision of suspension. Thank you.
Mateen sir.
जी थैंक यू सो मच डीजी मतीन हैदर डीजी ISPR से सवाल है आज हमें आपकी तरफ से अपडेट्स मुसलसल मिल रहे हैं और एक अपडेट ये है कि पाक फ़ौज ने अपनी जो रेगुलर मशकें वो शुरू कर दी है एयरफोर्स ने ऑलरेडी शुरू की हुई है रात के हमें वज़ीर इत्तलात का भी स्टेटमेंट मिला जिसमें यह कहा गया कि अगले 36 घंटे भारत की जानिब से हमले के लिए इंतहाई अहम है आपसे स्पेसिफिकली ये पूछना है कि कितना बड़ा ख़तरा है हमारी कौन सी जगहें पाकिस्तान में क्या लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल आज़ाद कश्मीर भावलपुर किन जगहों पे ख़तरा ज़्यादा है और उस ख़तरे से निमटने के लिए हमारी तैयारी उन इलाकों में कितनी है चूँकि एक्सरसाइज का क्लिप हमें आ चुका है और डिप्टी PM FM से सवाल है हमारा जो डिप्लोमेटिक स्टाफ न्यू दिल्ली से आ रहा था उनके साथ वाघा बॉर्डर के ऊपर बहुत बदसलूकी की जा रही है एक नोट भी हमें फॉरेन ऑफिस के ग्रुप में इस हवाले से मिला तो ये बताइए ये भी इंटरनेशनल लॉ वियना कन्वेंशन की खिलाफ वर्जी है जो डिप्लोमेटिक स्टाफ आ रहा है हमने उनके स्टाफ को बड़े एहतराम से भिजवाया लेकिन हमारे स्टाफ के साथ बदसलूकी की जा रही है तो बस ये 2 सवाल हैं बहुत शुक्रिया
क्या कर रही है ये मैंने जो स्पोक्स पर्सन है उनको क्वेश्चन छोड़ा हुआ है इसके ऊपर रिस्पॉन्ड भी नहीं कर रही मिनिस्ट्री
मेरा ख्याल 3 हो गया फिर आप नया सवाल कर लें जहाँ तक 24 से 36 घंटे का सवाल है ये इट वाज बेस्ड ऑन क्रेडिबल इंटेल इंफॉर्मेशन सो वी थॉट दैट इट वुड बी अप्रोप्रिएट लेट नाइट इट शुड मेड पब्लिक एंड दैट्स व्हाई द इंफॉर्मेशन मिनिस्टर गेव द स्टेटमेंट इट वाज इन द नॉलेज ऑफ द एंटायर लीडरशिप बोथ सिविल एंड मिलिट्री नंबर 2 बदसलूकी जहाँ तक आपने फरमाया ऑब्वियसली दिस इज वेरी अनडिप्लोमेटिक अनवारंटेड unacceptable so we will raise it at all proper forums including the United Nations because this is not on because we believe that respect dignity of the diplomats no matter in which country they belong to and where they are moving to and from we will take care of this जहाँ तक पाकिस्तान के फंसों के ताल्लुक है our High Commission in New Delhi is working on that and we will coordinate you see it's something which the data is being collected but obviously since there were 48 hours for them to leave and for us to leave because both actions were taken so I think we are taking care of this thing the spokesperson will give you next regular briefing with the more detail
exactly
आपने एक एक्सरसाइज का रेफर किया दिस इज जस्ट वन पार्ट दैट वाज शेयर्ड विद यू रेस्ट अश्योर्ड कि आपकी चाहे फौज है चाहे फ़ज़ाइया है चाहे नेवी है चाहे बाकी तमाम दिफा से ताल्लुक़ रखने वाले इदारे हैं वो हमा वक्त हर वक्त अपनी तैयारी में मसरूफ़ है सो वी आर एवरीवेयर ऑल द टाइम वी आर रेडी एंड वी आर प्रिपेयर्ड टू टेक ऑन ऑल सॉर्ट ऑफ चैलेंजेस मिलिट्री कन्फ्रंटेशन का रास्ता अगर उन्होंने चुनना है तो ये उनकी चॉइस है आगे ये किधर जाता है ये फिर हमारी चॉइस है
जी, मेरा नाम एजाज अहमद है, मैं JNN से हूँ। डॉक्टर साहब, एक तो आपसे सवाल है और जनरल साहब आपसे सवाल है। जनरल साहब से पहले पूछ लेते हैं कि एक तो ये जो एक्सरसाइज का मतीन ने तस्करा किया, लेकिन इसके साथ साथ बहुत सारे वीडियोज भी आ जाती हैं कि ये हो गया, वो हो गया, इतनी मोर्चे गिरा दिए, इतने जहाज़ गिरा दिए। हमें थोड़ा सा स्पेसिफिक इस हवाले से भी आप बता सकें कि एक्चुअली लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल पर और वर्किंग बाउंड्री पर क्या सूरत हाल है। फिर इंडियन मीडिया बहुत बुलंद बांग दावे करता है कि हमारे पास रफ़ाइल आ गए हैं, पाकिस्तान के पास इसका तोड़ नहीं है। तो हमारे पास तोड़ क्या है उसका? और डॉक्टर साहब, आपसे सवाल ये है कि आज ही अमेरिकी तर्जुमान ने यह कहा है कि मार्को रूबियो जो है US सेक्रेटरी ऑफ स्टेट, वो आपसे और इंडियन काउंटर पार्ट से बात करेंगे। इंडिया ने एक ये मजाक बनाया हुआ है कि हर कुछ साल के बाद वो एक फॉल्स फ्लैग करता है और फिर पाकिस्तान पर इल्ज़ाम शुरू कर देता है। हमारी प्री कंडीशंस क्या होंगी और क्या मीडिएशन पॉसिबल है मौजूदा सूरत हाल में?
नहीं, ज़रा एक सेकंड, ऑलरेडी उनके 4 सवाल हैं एक ही में, सो मेरा पहले हैंडल कर रहे थे, अभी करते हैं, अभी आपके पास, विल कम टू यू।
तो इस पे अगर आप कमेंट कर दें, इज देयर एनी अपडेट ऑन द करंट
टेलीफोन कॉल्स रिक्वेस्ट हमने भी भेजी हुई हैं, हमारे पास भी है, वी आर मैनेजिंग इट एज पर मैक्सिमम पोटेंशियल। लेकिन ये जो आपने सेक्रेटरी रूबियो की बात की, उन्होंने चूँकि मेरा शायद एक ट्रैवल था जो मैंने पोस्टपोन किया, यू ऑल नो, काबुल के बाद मैंने ढाका जाना था, तो उन्होंने रिक्वेस्ट मुझे भी भेजी हुई है और गालबन प्राइम मिनिस्टर हाउस भी आई है। तो whosoever is available will talk to him when he calls. Obviously Foreign Office as per the standard practice will tie up the time. जहाँ तक फॉल्स फ्लैग है, हमने तो इसको अपनी इवन पहलगाम पे सीरियस रिजर्वेशन फ्लैग कर दी हैं। पहले आपने सब कुछ देखा है जो जनरल शरीफ ने आपको दिखाया है। दिस एब्सोल्युटली क्रिस्टल क्लियर दैट वी डू नॉट बिलीव कि ये है, लेकिन इसके बावजूद वी हैव ऑफर्ड, ओके फाइन, इफ हुआ है, यू से दैट हुआ है, तो प्लीज give the evidence to the neutral independent investigators. What is the problem about not having a probe? So अगर probe होगी तो only then we would know कि where do we stand. तो ये false flag जो है, ये एक इनका ड्रामेटिक किस्म का ये इनका प्लान है। पुलवामा देख लें, मैंने भी आपको मेडलिन ऑलब्राइट की किताब प्रेसिडेंट क्लिंटन के विजिट का बताया। I was present 2nd of December 1998 when after the detonation in Oval Office with Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. And we have dialogue, Madeleine Albright, Sandy Berger, Rubin Talbot, they were all there. I, Sartaj Aziz Saab, apna Mushahid Hussain Sayyid, Shawaz Sharif Saab and Riaz Khokar were there. So you see, but these are the things one cannot divulge. These are national history and archives, and they are there where it should be. So let me assure you, we know that where is false flag and how it is to be dealt with. So we have raised our reservations, offered independently. So I think gradually the international community, the way they drummed up false propaganda in the first 48 hours has died down already. You have seen that the Indians खुद वो सवाल वही पूछ रहे हैं और they are questioning many things. So this is how their narrative has virtually gone for the six, and their propaganda has fallen. So हम अभी भी हमारी जो ऑफर है वो है, जहाँ तक आपने ममालिक की जिक्र किया, मीडिएशन की बात की, देखिए मीडिएशन नहीं, इन्वेस्टिगेशन की जरूरत है, मीडिएशन तो कोई जरूरत नहीं है. So our friends have offered and they must be trying. The need of the hour is, because both countries being nuclear, need of the hour is any escalatory move can go to a direction which would be unsustainable, not between the two countries, maybe for the entire region. So it is a combined responsibility of friends and the regional actors to make sure that India doesn't make this mistake. But as General Sharif has said, on behalf of armed forces, they are alert, they are ready, and they are, inshallah, in a position to give a befitting response of the nature, and we will choose time and mode, of our liking. Thank you.
I'll just add to that आपने कहा information आती है कि जहाज ही हो गया, मुख्तलिफ तरह information. अगर तो आप अपनी information social media से ले रहे हैं तो आपको बहुत तरह की information मिलेगी. तो I would request that please only refer to the credible sources of information. Especially ये जो circumstances चल रहे हैं इसके अंदर, the social media, the accounts, they are not a credible source of information. वहाँ से आपको बहुत कुछ मिलेगा. अपने दावे की बात की, वो दावा कहते हैं कि जी हमारा राफेल और ये वो, तो उनके दावे तो पहलगाम पे भी हैं, उनके दावे तो बहुत सी चीज़ों पे हैं. उनके अगर हम उनके दावों पे चलना शुरू हो जाएं तो then the world will look entirely different. And lastly, जो आपने DGMO की टॉक की बात की, there is a long उसके ऊपर एक बातचीत होती है. इसके अंदर जो सा है, दोनों साइड्स की प्रोटोकॉल यही है कि वो इस बातचीत को, इस कॉन्टेक्ट को पब्लिक नहीं करते. We don't know that for what reason the Indians thought it's necessary कि उन्होंने आके इसको पब्लिक करना है. Perhaps they felt, जिस तरह इन्होंने कहा कि in the narrative between the two countries.
जी सदीक साजिद जी, एक न्यूज़ से. डॉक्टर साहब, अभी आपने हाल ही में काबुल का विज़िट किया और उसके फौरी बाद ये 71 जो डीजी साहब ने बताया कि टेररिस्ट अफगानिस्तान से पाकिस्तान दाखिल होने की कोशिश कर रहे थे, प्रॉक्सीज़ की बात की, तो क्या आपकी उनके साथ इस हवाले से जो बात हुई उसका नतीजा इस सूरत में निकला कि
शुरू में क्या कहा आपने?
काबुल
विजिट किया. जी 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 जी.
वो तो फिर वही जारी, बल्कि सबसे बड़ी तश्कील जो है वो पाकिस्तान की सरजमीन पे आई. दूसरा डीजी साहब, आपसे एक सवाल है कि इंडियन जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर हैं, मुसलसल नेशनल सिक्योरिटी कमेटी मीटिंग, कैबिनेट मीटिंग, और उनका इंडियन मीडिया ये कह रहा है कि जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर हैं उन्होंने अपनी फ़ौज को ग्रीन सिग्नल दे दिया है पाकिस्तान के ऊपर हमले का, और ये कहा गया कि वो अपनी मर्जी से जगह का तयन कर लें, मकाम का तयन कर लें, टारगेट का तयन कर लें. तो हमारी तरफ से जो आपका इसको रिस्पॉन्ड क्या होगा?
मैं काबुल का जवाब आपको पहले दे देता हूँ. देखिए, डोंट मिक्स टू थिंग्स टुगेदर. You cannot change your neighbors and you have to deal with them. This is no solution कि अगर हमें पता है कि उनकी सरजमीन माजी में इस्तेमाल हुई है तो हम अपने ताल्लुकात को बंद कर दें. It is not neither good for economy, nor trade, nor even Islamically, it's not allowed. So the government and the stakeholder decided that we should re-engage Afghanistan. So I visited Afghanistan. The visit was absolutely marvelous, both from political point of view, from economic and trade point of view, from refugees point of view. And also, वो नहीं करते, चौधरी साहब जनरली प्रेस टेक आउट नहीं करते, वो प्रेस रिलीज नहीं होती. इट इज़ अनयूजुअल एंड एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी अरेंजमेंट कि उन्होंने मेरे साथ खड़े होके, हमारे काउंटर पार्ट ने, वी शुड अप्रिशिएट. भैया ये कि अगर हम ऐसी चीज़ों पे क्रिटिकल होंगे तो जो उसका पॉजिटिविटी है वो इंडिया तो भेजेगा उनको. देखे आपने तो बड़ा, प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब से मेरी मीटिंग हुई, मुझे बताया गया वो बहुत थोड़ी मीटिंग करते हैं. इट वाज एलेबोरेट मीटिंग विद प्राइम मिनिस्टर खुद. उसके बाद डीपीएम से मीटिंग हुई, उनकी पूरी कैबिनेट के जितने मेन विंग्स थे वो सारे थे, और फिर मुत्तकी साहब से मीटिंग हुई. तो मैं तो उसको बहुत अप्रिशिएट करता हूँ. हमें देखिए, हमने रहना है एक दूसरे के साथ, और हमारी जो बेहतरी है उनके लिए बेहतरी है, उनकी जो बेहतरी हमारे लिए बेहतरी. सो गवर्नमेंट एंड द स्टेक होल्डर्स दे डिसाइडेड कि वी शुड री एंगेज, और उसके नतीजे में मैं गया और द विजिट वाज एब्सोल्युटली फाइन. और मैंने यहाँ आके आपको नहीं बताया कि वहाँ मैं क्या कह रहा हूँ. मेरे बाएं हाथ मुत्तकी साहब खड़े थे और मैं हर चीज़ जो कुछ हमने अनाउंस किया, जो कुछ एग्री किया, मैंने ट्रांसपेरेंटली कौम को और दुनिया को बता दिया, और उन्होंने भी उसको उसी पैराए में लिया, उसी तरह रिस्पॉन्ड किया. तो पहले अगर हम काबुल को इसमें ड्रैग इन करेंगे, आई थिंक इट विल नॉट बी फेयर. सो इट इज़ नॉट इन नेशनल इंटरेस्ट.
देखिए, वी आर नॉट कंसर्न कि वो क्या कह रहे हैं, वो उनकी अपनी कंजम्पशन के लिए जो कह रहे हैं. हम आपको बार बार ये बता रहे हैं, हम पहले भी कम्युनिकेट करते रहे हैं कि हम तैयार हैं, आजमाना नहीं. 2019 में भी हमने ये बताया था कि वी आर रेडी. वी आर नॉट द वन हु आर गोइंग टू इनिशिएट एनी एग्रेशन. We are a very responsible state, and we'll always follow the path of reason and constructive engagement. But if they think that aggression is the path forward, so our message is only this: we are ready. Don't test it.
Thank you, sir. Jiang Chao, Xinhua News Agency. We have seen that in the past days, Deputy Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister held a phone call with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, and according to a release from Chinese Foreign Ministry, China reaffirmed its support to Pakistan on counterterrorism and safeguarding its national interests and national authority and territory, and also support to carry out investigation on the incident in program in a fair and objective way. So my question first to DG SPR that one thing when in your presentation about the Chinese national who are being attacked on October the 6th, 2024, that a account on social media to show indicating that this account knows the attack ahead of the thing happen. So have you ever traced the background of this account, who are behind it? And are you planning to present these evidence after the investigation to your Chinese counterparts? This is my first question to DG SPR. So second question, that we have already seen yesterday that the Indian authority has, especially its leadership, has released a lot of signal on solving the issue by forces. Well, we have seen Pakistan has carried out a lot of intensive diplomatic activity with neighboring countries and major countries in the past days. Has Pakistan have planned to propose a resolution or propose a case in the UNDC to seeking for pass a resolution to limit both sides or India side to carry out the war to solve the issue? This is my second question to Deputy Prime Minister. Thank you.
Well, I had detailed telephone call, long telephone call with His Excellency, the Chinese Foreign Minister on Sunday afternoon. He was traveling. He was at that time. I sent him a message. He was in Central Asian states traveling to Brazil for BRICS meeting. We were very clear, and I am grateful that he supported. I explained to him. He was obviously up to date. So he supported our stance and offer of the independent investigation. He says a very good offer, and he emphasized that it should be accepted and independent investigation should take place. The second, advice, as we are ironclad friends and brothers, was that we must try and exercise restraint in the interest of the regional peace and security. So I assured him that, as I have told even in the Senate of Pakistan, I have also said it publicly, we will not be the first one to take any escalative move. But he fully agreed. So, his advice was that we should avoid, any escalative move and exercise restraint, which we have the policy by the civil and military leadership have already decided that we will not do the first move. So rest I have already clarified. Your question about the Pakistan plan resolution in the UN Security Council, we will consult. As you know that right now we are moving diplomatic way. Obviously, I had to cancel my visit to Dhaka under the circumstances, which is scheduled for 28th, 29th. So we are taking care of everything. So if the leadership would decide for moving a resolution, we will look into that. The resolutions in UN Security Council sometime get shooted down by the P5. They have the veto power. So we are one of the 10 non-permanent elected members. So there's a different debate we can discuss sometime. The reforms in the UN Security Council and the multilateral system, which is weakening very rapidly. So it's not the time. But we will obviously, through consultative measures, because we don't want to, present a resolution and it just doesn't get through. Because you have just seen the press statement filed by U.S., United Joint States of America. It took 2 days because we had serious reservations on 2 points, and we got it fixed. We got Jammu and Kashmir included. We got TRF, removed. And after that, it was interesting that within the next 48 hours, TRF actually disclaimed that we have nothing to do with this thing. So thanks God, our argument has been proven, and the position what we took stands vindicated. Thank you.
On the question of the X account, first I would like to say that it is a great tragedy, the loss of the valuable lives of our Chinese friends who were victim of externally sponsored and abetted terrorism. As you saw that, as you highlighted the X account that you referred, a forensic of that account tells a lot about that, from where it's being operated, which agencies. So it has clear linkage with India. As I highlighted, that it was activity on Pahalgam incident, amongst the first one to come and start pointing fingers from these accounts on Pakistan, on Islamist terrorism. Beforehand, claims on Mianwali airbase attack. Beforehand, claims of an attack that something is going to happen in Karachi. Immediate reporting of that unfortunate incident. And then amongst the first one to say, while we were not sure that who these foreigners were, that the Chinese were victim of that incident. So the forensic is there for all to say. Of course, Pakistan and China share a very organized and institutionalized method of information sharing in the domains of these investigations. So all the relevant information, investigations are shared with the friends.
जी सर, मैं सैयद ज़फ़र हुसैन मेरा नाम है सर, दुनिया न्यूज़ से मेरा ताल्लुक़ है। मेरा सवाल जनाब डिप्टी प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब से है। सर, आप पॉलिटिशियन हैं, एक पॉलिटिकल क्वेश्चन भी हो जाए। सर, गुज़िश्ता 1-1.5 हफ्ते से सारी सिचुएशन चल रही है। मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहूँगा कि हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर मियाँ शहबाज शरीफ साहब कहाँ हैं? वो कहीं हमें फ्रंट पे नज़र नहीं आ रहे। वो कौम के लीडर हैं, वज़ीर आज़म हैं। क्या उन्हें नहीं चाहिए कि वो फ्रंट पे आके फ्रंट से कौम को लीड करें, कौम को इत्मीनान मिलें और कोई कौम से खिताब कर लें, बताया जाए कि क्या हो रहा है, क्या हुकूमत करना चाह रही है सारी सिचुएशन को डील करने के लिए। एक मुल्क से ये जंग का मामला है, कोई छोटा इशू नहीं है। फिर आपने ये कहा कि करारदाद सेनेट ने पास कर ली है, ये कौम की आवाज़ है। मैं ये पूछना चाहूँगा, क्या 15-20 सेनेटर्स की मौजूदगी में करारदाद की मंजूरी को कौम की आवाज़ करार दिया जा सकता है? आपका मुंतखब ऐवान के तमाम सियासी जमातों को बुलाकर इस मामले पर हमने इत्मीनान में क्यों नहीं किया जाता? कौम के अंदर एक जज्बा पैदा करने की कोशिश क्यों नहीं की जाती? ये क्यों नहीं बताया जाता कि कौम इस मसले पर हुकूमत के पीछे
Political statement well taken. Let me answer. देखें भाई, जहाँ तक प्राइम मिनिस्टर का ताल्लुक है, आई फेल टू अंडरस्टैंड, या तो शायद आपको मौका नहीं मिला। स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम राइट आफ्टर अराइवल फ्रॉम Ankara in Islamabad, 23rd evening, we have been in touch throughout, and very next morning, National Security Committee of Pakistan meets. His statement after that, the National Security Committee's press release, and after that series of interactions by Prime Minister. I'm amazed कि आपको ये भी नहीं पता, तो बड़ा हैरानगी की बात है। या तो आपको मौका नहीं मिला या आप कहीं और इंडियन चैनल्स ही देखते रहे हैं इस दौरान। दूसरा जो तो इसलिए गायब को तो he is leading from the front. I mean, frankly, we are all, the military and the civil leadership under his chairmanship has been working day and night. एंड आपने देखा कि हम लगे हुए हैं, एंड आई थिंक वी ट्राई फ्रॉम मोफा टू कीप गिविंग ए लिटिल पीस ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट ईच मूवमेंट वी डू। दूसरी जो आपने फरमाया कि 15-20 महले, अगेन आपकी मैं चूँकि अकाउंटेंट हूँ, आप शायद नॉन अकाउंटेंट हैं, ये 15-20 तो मुझे नजर नहीं है, तो बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ी तादाद थी। कम से कम तमाम पार्टीज़ के तमाम जो पार्लिमानी लीडर्स हैं, इफ़ यू रिकॉल, अगर आप मौजूद थे तो हमारी 2 घंटे मीटिंग हुई। हमने 24 की रात को ही एक ड्राफ्ट, तो इसे स्टैंडर्ड ये प्रैक्टिस है कि ये फॉरेन ऑफिस का काम होता है, हमने एक ड्राफ्ट रेजोल्यूशन बना के वो 11 बजे रात को दे दी। मैं अब चूँकि आपने सवाल किया तो मैं इसकी तफसील शेयर कर रहा हूँ, तमाम को दे दी। अगले दिन सेनेट इजलास से 1 घंटा पहले मीटिंग हुई हमारी और मैं खुद उसमें हाजिर हुआ, और उसमें हमने खुले दिल के साथ जो किसी ने वैल्यू एडिशन प्रपोज की वी टुक इट। और आपने देखा कि तमाम पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज, यू नेम जो उधर नहीं थे, तमाम पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज और कहाँ बैठे, लीडर ऑफ द अपोजिशन के कमरे जहाँ मैं कभी होता था, अभी मैं लीडर ऑफ द हाउस में बैठता हूँ, तो हम वहाँ बैठे जहाँ शिबली फराज साहब का ऑफिशियल चैम्बर है। तमाम ये कोई ईगो का मसला नहीं है, ये मुल्क का मसला है, ये एक नेशनल इशू थी। मैं बड़ी खुशी के साथ मैं जब पहुंचा तो उन्होंने कहा जी कि वो लीडर दी अपोजिशन के कमरे बैठे हैं, उनको बुलाएं। मैं कहा नहीं, मैं उधर जाऊंगा। हम सब बैठे खुल के 2 घंटे, अगर आपको याद हो तो इजलास लेट शुरू हुआ, सो विद द कंसेंसस ऑफ दी ऑल पार्टीज। तो ये ना प्लीज कहें, दिस विल बी ए वेरी अनफेयर स्टेटमेंट कि जी 15-20 सेनेटर्स के मौजूदगी में अगर रेजोल्यूशन पास हो गई। आई वॉक देम थ्रू पूरी जो उस वक्त तक की कार्रवाई थी, सबको हाउस में जब मैंने रेजोल्यूशन पास की, एक तरफ मेरे दस्तखत है, दूसरी तरफ लीडर ऑफ द अपोजिशन का दस्तखत है उस रेजोल्यूशन के ऊपर। यू कैन गो एंड गेट द कॉपी। और उसके बाद कल 2-3 दिन डिबेट हुई। कल जब डिबेट को मैंने कंक्लूड किया, फ्रॉम दैट पॉइंट टिल यस्टरडे इवनिंग, जब वो प्रोरोग हुआ उससे पहले, मैंने जो मजीद जो डेवलपमेंट्स हैं इस मामले के हवाले से, आई जस्ट अगेन शेयर्ड एंड आई टोल्ड देम कि जब भी इजलास दोबारा आएगा मैं आपको बाकी भी मजीद जो कहा हो। तो मेरा ख्याल है इससे ज़्यादा और क्या ट्रांसपेरेंसी हो सकती है भाई। और सेनेट बिल्कुल ही कौम कटी है। अब हम ऐसे मैसेजेस ना दें। देखिए, इंटरनल पॉलिटिकल डिफरेंसेस हो सकते हैं और वो होते हैं, इट इज़ आर्ट ऑफ पॉलिटिक्स टू डील विद द डिफरेंसेस, और डील करते रहे को। मैं तो पहली दफ़ा नहीं कर रहा, मैं पिछले 35 साल से यही झक मार रहा हूँ। तो आई विल कंटिन्यू टू डू दैट प्लीज़।
और DGISPR गुफ्तगू कर रहे थे। प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस के दौरान उन्होंने कहा कि पाकिस्तानी कौम और इदारे एक साथ हैं। दहशतगर्दी के हर वाक़े पर इल्जाम तराशी भारत का वतीरा है। भारतीय हुकूमत की तरफ से मजमूम सियासी मकासद के लिए ऐसे वाकयात का इस्तेमाल किया जाता है। भारतीय क़यादत अपनी नाकामियों से तवज्जो हटाने के लिए मुख्तलिफ हथकंडे इस्तेमाल करती है। मकबूजा कश्मीर के अवाम के हुकूक को कुचलने के लिए भारत ने काले कवानीन का सहारा लिया। पूरा खिता भारत के गैर जिम्मेदाराना इक़दामात की वजह से खतरे में है। इसके अलावा उन्होंने कहा कि पाकिस्तान में दहशतगर्द कार्रवाइयों का भारत अहम स्पॉन्सर है। दहशतगर्दी के खात्मे के लिए पाकिस्तानी कौम और इदारों का अज़्म गैर मुतज़लज़ल है। पहलगाम वाक़े पर सवाल उठाने वालों को भारतीय हुकूमत की इंतकामी कार्रवाइयों का सामना है। भारत में दहशतगर्दी और इंतहा पसंदी की वजह अंदरूनी अवामिल हैं। DGISPR ने कहा कि भारत अंदरूनी वसाइल से तवज्जो हटाने के लिए इल्जाम तराशी का सहारा लेता है। पाकिस्तान की खुद मुख्तारी और सलामती के लिए किसी भी हद तक जाएंगे। इल्जामात की बजाय हम पहलगाम वाक़े के हक़ाइक़ पर जाएंगे। और इसके अलावा उनका ये भी कहना था कि पहलगाम वाक़े की जगह LOC से 230 किलोमीटर तक दूर है। वाक़े के फौरी बाद FIR के इंदराज और मंदरजात ने सवाल उठा दिए हैं। पहलगाम वाक़े को फौरी तौर पर मुसलमानों के साथ जोड़ दिया गया। DGISPR ने कहा कि भारतीय मीडिया ने फौरी तौर पर पाकिस्तान पर इल्जाम आयद कर दिया। पहलगाम वाक़े पर इस्तेमाल होने वाले सोशल मीडिया अकाउंट्स जाफर एक्सप्रेस हमले में भी इस्तेमाल हुए। इल्जाम तराशी के बजाय भारतीय हुकूमत को सवाल